the first person? I think she's here, Lauren.
I'm here.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and admit everyone. And we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay. I'll admit this person. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this event, the Transfer College Connection. My name is Lauren Yates, and I am a counselor at Ottawa Township High School, and I will be the moderator for today. So today we're going to hear a little bit from different people. One of those will be Azarette Loveland from IVCC. She's one of the assistant directors of admission over there. We have Paige Frevert from Bradley University. She's a transfer counselor over there. Becky Stremlow from St. Ambrose University. We have Morgan Johnson from Illinois State University. Tedra Mayweather, I can never say your last name right, Tedra, sorry, from NIU. Sylvia Diaz from ISAC.
And then we have some other guests with us too, an additional ISAC member. So if you want to introduce yourself as well.
My name is Sydney Parra. I'm also an ISAC Corps member, and I work for the Kishwaukee Community College District.
Wonderful. And Lauren, who are you?
Oh, I didn't say it. Sorry. I'm Lauren Yates. I am the counselor and one of the counselors over at Ottawa Township High School. Okay, so a little bit of the overview of today's program. What you're going to hear from today is a student perspective from an IVC student who has transferred or in the process of transferring. You're going to hear a little bit from the ISAC reps. And then you'll hear from the university partners about transfer populations, transfer resources, housing, student service and involvement on each campus, different scholarships, how the application process works. And at the end, we'll have some time for a Q&A session. So we'll start first with Azarette and IVCC.
Yes, so thank you for joining us. And some of you are maybe students with us or considering IVCC, but I guess the big thing that we wanted to address with this program is understanding that it's all about relationships and that we really rely on our high school partners and our university partners and the flexibilities there. And so we want to share really the transparency in how well we work with one another. The other big thing that I'm always proud to share is that our students that start here at IVCC tend to have a higher grade point average than the native student when they end up transferring. So I think that's something really cool that we kind of get you kind of a toolkit, understanding how college works at the community college level and really get you prepared for that 4-year experience. The other big thing is, hello, debt-free, how exciting. And I'll go on and on about that, because it's really important to start thinking about financially, how do I see this? How do I see myself moving through this? And also not feeling like it's a barrier, you're wanting to do something exciting for your future and career, but also not having to take on a bunch of debt. So the community college IVCC, we have such great flexibility in that sense as well. And then of course the relationships. And I can't stress the importance of how great our partners are. I mean, they're here with us this afternoon, but they're here no matter what. So if there's ever a question or anything that we need, they're right there. And that brings really up the IVCC Counseling Center. Our counselors are on it. They know exactly the updates with any kind of course-to-course articulation. We're working with our partners. We're learning more about the new programs. And so that's why we want students to make sure to connect with their counselor, whether you're starting at the high school and then thinking about attending IVCC, or even if you're at IVCC and wanting to make sure whatever you're learning from your transfer institution makes sense. So tons of information out there, course articulation guides. I'm telling you, every single year we go through each one and we make sure that that English course is still that English course at whatever university, NIU, ISU, Bradley, St. Ambrose, you name it. We're figuring that stuff out with you, and we just want you to know we're there and let us know how we can assist. So with that, the big thing that we wanted to share and provide you is a student perspective. Like, we're professionals, we do this, but we really want you to hear what a student perspective and really their experience has been. So we're very excited to have Matthew Klein. He graduated last year such a weird time to graduate and also transition to Bradley University. So I'm going to have him share a little bit of his story and kind of go from there.
Thank you, Ezra. And yeah, you're right. It definitely was a little bit of a weird time, obviously, for everybody. But I will say the transition was still very smooth. And you would have thought it was nothing else. So just to tell a quick story, I did graduate from IVCC just last May, and now I'm a junior at Bradley. But in terms of like me and like with planning and stuff, I'm not the biggest type of person that does like planning and figuring stuff out. And that's typically not me. Like I still don't know what I'm doing Friday, for example. But anyways, I'm not the biggest planner. So I wasn't really sure in terms of, hey, is this going to transfer and stuff like that? So that's why, especially, you know, IVCC or community colleges, it's really important to make sure to meet ahead of time, you know, go to those counselors, like with your class schedule, what you're planning on taking. I wasn't even sure when I was in IVCC, like what I was going to do after IVCC. Like, was I going to transfer to a public college, private, and was I even going to stay in the state of Illinois? I didn't find that out till late, but I made sure in working with counselors there to make sure to still take a lot of courses that, okay, no matter what, this is probably going to work in the state of Illinois. And that's what I really focused on. And I was fortunate enough to be able to get, if you can look into it, or if you ask someone here, I'm sure they can tell you all about it, but it's called IAI. It's only for the state of Illinois, but most colleges recognize it. And because of that, it's like, okay, I got this accreditation, and now it basically works at almost any school. And because of that, it really makes the transition process easy. And then you get there, and honestly, like this past semester, especially at Bradley, or even last fall when it was my first semester there, I honestly felt like I was there all 4 years, just because you already done with all the same classes that everyone else is done with, and you're just focused then on like your core major courses. And to me, that's what I like find interesting. Not that, and nothing against just a traditional English class, but typically I'm not the most interested in writing, so I'm not a big fan of those types of courses. So by being able to just get them done and take those at the community college level, really made it easy for me to, okay, now I'm at Bradley, I can focus on my major courses and the courses that I found interesting. And that just keeps education more interesting in my perspective. But, and I feel free, I'm not sure how many people are on this call right now, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to just hop on the mic and stop talking and I'll start talking. But other than that, I don't know, Ezra, are there any other thoughts or questions?
Yeah,
so I guess as a matter of fact.
Don't mind. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. If you don't mind sharing, you know, when did you start having the conversation with not only your IVCC counselor, but then the conversation with your Bradley connection?
Sure, of course. Yeah. So IVCC, so I was there for 2 years. At the end, I think of my first semester. Well, I mean, the education, I mean, they tell you their whole life that, oh, you got to know exactly what you're going to do, which obviously isn't true. But I think at the end of my first semester there, they were really pushing up, okay, where are you going to go? Which school are you going to go to? We got to figure out what you're going to do. And I just gave the, I don't know, answer, shrugged my shoulders maybe a little bit a few times. But I would say definitely by the first semester of my second year there, because that would be fall semester of technically my last year if you're going to go traditional 2 years at community college. I would say that I definitely had an idea of, okay, I don't know which school yet, but I'm going to stay in the state of Illinois. That made sure I was able to go and get the IAI, and which then worked, because the IAI doesn't always work if you go to a school that's not in the state of Illinois. But I definitely, by then I was like, okay, I'm staying in the state of Illinois. I've got it down to like 1 or 2 schools. And then honestly, a big factor with me was then contacting these other schools. So like Bradley University, for example, and they were really good about, okay, you have this, you're going to do that. This will all transfer. To me, I think education is important, and I got to watch what I say on this call, but I think it's really important that, okay, if I took this class at IVCC, it should totally count at Bradley. I'm not going to take the same class again if I don't have to. Not only does it take more time, but it also costs a lot more. And as you mentioned, cost is a huge thing right now, as always. But I thought, okay, and I think at the end of the day, Bradley ended up taking a couple more courses than the other schools as well. And I was like, all right, this is great. So definitely around then, I mean, when it's your final year at community college or whatever, you definitely want to have an idea, and that's hard to say because I'm not a big planner, but you have an idea of probably where you're going to go. as well as meeting with those counselors, telling them this is what I plan on having, how will this look like transferring? Because by doing that in advance, you also have the time then to change your schedule at those community colleges and take a different course. I even had to, it came down to the line, and I can't encourage this or nothing, but it came down to the line at one point, I think my last semester, to where I was like, one course that like wasn't being offered that semester or something at IVCC. And it was kind of screwed up with Bradley to where if I didn't have that course, I wouldn't be able to get into exactly my major. So I was able to make it work at IVCC, which was good. So you definitely have some flexibility room there, and it's okay to ask questions and, you know, meet with these counselors. That's what they're there for. They want to help. And they do, as Rhett mentioned, they go through those lists. I can only imagine how crazy those lists are, figuring out all the courses. To me, I'm not good with little details like that. So that's why it's like, okay, I'll sit down with maybe a friend, do it. Here's what I think. I'll show it to the counselor. They'll show me what it actually is. Then I'll know what I'll actually need to take. So to me, that's really important. So just make sure to meet with them. It's okay. I actually just had to meet with a couple of counselors yesterday at Bradley University. So it's okay to meet with them. That's what they're for. That's their job. So honestly, it's great to do. But other than that, I don't think anything else. But just in terms of like how Bradley was, speak to Bradley, I guess. I can't speak about any other school, but Bradley, the transition was very smooth. Everything transferred over just like they said it would. And it was great because I already had those courses done at IVCC, and now I'm at Bradley. I can take what I find interesting and take what's related to my major. So it worked out very smooth. And again, they don't pay me to say nothing like this. They just asked me to hop on, and I said I would. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Matthew. And any other, I guess, advice or wisdom that you would like to impart to any students that are, you know, unsure or even just like nervous about that first day starting at a new school?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember two things. The one I kind of alluded to earlier, that it's okay not to know, but at one point you do need to make a decision and you have to run with that decision. If I would have never decided to choose Bradley, I might have had to go to a different school or something to where maybe it wouldn't transfer, and I wouldn't be in the position I am right now to where everything looks good on the transcript and everything's smoothly transferring. So while I'm not big on making decisions, there comes a point to when you have to make that decision and run with it and be confident with it, as well as, like you mentioned, kind of the first day and stuff. There's a lot of people that had to make that same decision. So in other words, you're not the only person. And as long as you're confident with it, I think you'll be okay.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Matthew. And with that, one other big thing that as you're starting to make this decision and students trying to figure out what does this all look like? I might know where I want to go, or maybe I don't know where I want to go. Money's a big thing. And we are very, very excited to have our partners from ISAC. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to them.
Hey, thank you so much. My name is Sylvia Diaz. I'm with the Illinois Student Assistance Commission, also known as ISAC, and we are the state agency tasked with helping students with a post-secondary life, be about finding a job, be about going to college. It's not just for high schoolers, it's very much still, we're still working with college students. So as you consider this transfer process and want to talk about the nitty-gritty of financial aid or even applications, what sort of materials, we're here to holistically support all of our students within the state of Illinois. We're here to act as near peer mentors. I graduated in June 2020, so also a pandemic graduate, and it's strange times to be leaving school and also entering school. So by all means, we have the know-it-all to navigate whatever situations you may be encountering. But yeah, just to give you a little bit of a taste of what our main focus is on, because while we do help with students, a lot of that is financial aid literacy and just financial literacy more generally. To give you a little bit of a taste of what you should be considering as you're gearing up to transfer or, you know, begin your college journey is understanding financial aid as a concept. And to define it, it is any of that borrowed or given or earned money that helps bridge the gap between what you, the student, what you, your family, and also you know, whatever support system can pay for college and what college ultimately costs. So financial aid, very complex, but ultimately it all boils down to making college affordable and accessible to you. So there's two major categories of aid that we recognize within the college access professional sphere. we have gift aid, which is the type of aid that we want all students to maximize because it is essentially free money. There are some stipulations depending on what kind of grant or scholarship you get, but gift aid generally doesn't have to be repaid unless you don't meet all the requirements for it. But yeah, gift aid, we want all students to maximize it. We have grants, which are largely considered a need-based category of financial aid. So if a student demonstrates financial need, they can be considered for these grants at the state level, at the federal level, and also within the schools. Then we have our wonderful scholarships. These aren't always financial need based. They might ask for some documentation if they do want to consider that, but largely you're going to be seeing these awarded for academic achievement, athleticism, artistic ability, and honestly just having different attributes, different social identities. So a lot of different scholarships. I think that there's one out there for everyone. So definitely worth looking into. And then we have on the flip side to complement the self-help aid category. This is going to put more onus, more responsibility on the student searching to access this type of financial aid. This is including loans. Love them and hate them. They are a significant part of a financial aid package for a lot of students. So loans, you want to be an informed consumer when you are taking out loans because you are expected to pay these back in the future. But yeah, loans, you have them at the federal level, you have them through private loan markets, and we're here to help you make informed decisions, look at those interest rates, look at the terms of the loan, and really make sure that you're taking care of future you by making good decisions today. And then another part of the self-help aid is the federal work-study program, which be it at a community college or at a four-year institution, it is the opportunity for both students who demonstrate financial need to get on-campus employment, sometimes off-campus, most likely on-campus employment that is subsidized by the federal government. So you are an attractive applicant at different jobs because, hey, the federal government is paying part of your the costs of employing you, but you also get really great opportunities at research labs, helping out with professors. You can work in different facilities and offices throughout the campus community, so really great opportunity there. And then just sort of getting your mind primed to consider where this aid is coming from and where you should be looking into to learn more information and also, make sure that you're on top of things. These are the major sources of financial aid. Basically, all the financial aid you're going to see within your college career are going to come from one of these four sources or all of these four sources, depending on what your package looks like and what you're looking out for. The federal government, big major one that's run by the U.S. Department of Education, and they have the Office of Federal Student Aid within that. Really important. If you take nothing else from this portion of the presentation, ISAC's portion, fill out your FAFSA. This is really important. If you are eligible to, filling it out helps you access a bunch of different aid, be it at the federal level with a Pell Grant or accessing those federal loans. At the state government, we get that information and we can help award the grants that ISAC administers. So that's the MAP grant. If you stay within the state of Illinois at a MAP approved institution, which all of our Illinois schools on the call today are MAP approved. And then also colleges will use the FAFSA to start that financial aid offer process. And sometimes it's the entirety of what they need for that financial aid process, and sometimes it's a large part of it. But regardless, really important part that the FAFSA plays in all of these. And sometimes even scholarships and organizations are going to ask to see the FAFSA when giving out their awards. So FAFSA. But yeah, federal government has a bunch of stuff that they administer. State government, if you stay within the state of Illinois, ISAC stays with you throughout your college journey. And like I mentioned earlier, we do administer different programs within the state. We have Illinois MAP grant, which is a nice little chunk of money of like $5,000 roughly. So $5,000 that you can be eligible based on financial need, really good sum of money. We also have different programs for teachers, different scholarship opportunities for teachers, the dependence of correctional officers and different like firefighters and emergency responders. So definitely look out for our programs if you are interested in them. Your colleges are going to have a bunch of aid. They're going to have a bunch of different things to offer you depending on where you end up going. Definitely contact the financial aid office to get more information there. And then your outside and private sources, you're going to see big brands, companies, philanthropic organizations giving out different scholarships or grants. There's a lot out there. There's no centralized database for scholarships or grants of this type, but what I can impart on all of you today is never pay to access scholarship information. Apologies, but yeah, that's it for me. And FAFSA, and remember that ISAC is here for you throughout the entire course of your college journey. And any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or ask right now. We'll be here throughout the conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a lot of information, but it's such a good way to, start thinking about that, and something I wish I would have had when I started thinking about the transfer process. So with that, we'll go ahead and transition talking to our university partners. And again, any students that are joining us, if you have questions or if they pop up while we're talking about something else, throw them in the chat. We've got our experts here, and so they'll be able to answer anything that's on your mind. So we'll go ahead and start off with St. Ambrose.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. So St. Ambrose University, first of all, we're located in Davenport, Iowa. So we're not an Illinois institution, but we're just about an hour and a half from IVCC campus. So we're a small Midwestern university. We have about 3,600 transfer students total. We welcome 200 new transfer students to campus each year. So if you are somebody who's looking at small private institutions, I would encourage you to ask those institutions how many new transfer students they have, because I think it speaks a lot to the culture and services that they would be able to offer you. A couple things specific to St. Ambrose: we have a transfer student mentor program. So when new students join us, they are able to connect with a transfer mentor who's available to them beginning in the summer before they begin at St. Ambrose, and then kind of stay with them throughout the semester, checking in to make sure they don't have any questions about classes or the portal, or just an additional resource and friend to them. We have a transfer student orientation that addresses specific needs of transfer students. We offer priority advising and registration. So if you are an incoming junior, you are able to register with our current juniors. So you don't have to wait to register for classes until all of our freshmen have registered. The majority of our advising is done by faculty members within your major. So you've done a lot of your general education work at IVCC. And so now it's time to transfer in and jump into those courses within your major. And the best help you can get from regarding your major is from the faculty members, the experts within that area. All right, that's all I have.
Hello. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Paige with Bradley University, and we are a mid-sized school. We take about 6,000 students here at Bradley. 300 of those are transfer students, so a decent population. As Matthew mentioned, he really didn't feel any different from any other student, simply because I feel we're very welcoming to transfer students, and we'll talk about all of the opportunities we have specifically for them throughout this presentation. Those are transfer student social organizations led by transfer students. We have a specific orientation just for transfers, because we know your process is a little different than the students coming in as freshmen. We allow our transfer students to register for classes before everyone else, because we know you're getting closer to graduation, and we want to make sure that you get the classes that you need so that you can graduate on time. We also offer direct admit into all of our programs, but it's really good to get a contact at whatever school that you want to transfer to and start talking to them early, so that you can make sure that you're registering for the classes that you need that are all going to be transferable to your major. I know Matthew had mentioned he ran into trouble with one course that he needed to take before he transferred. He's a management and leadership major here at Bradley, and we like our business students to have taken calculus before they transfer, just because it sets them up for success in their upper level business courses. So that's just an example of how it's good to create that relationship with your admission counselor so that you are signing up for the classes that you need to transfer. And similar to St. Ambrose, we have a 12-to-1 student ratio. So you're getting good relationships with your faculty members, and your faculty advisors will also help you register for classes.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Morgan with Illinois State. We are one of the first public institutions in the state of Illinois. We're located down in Bloomington Normal, so not too far from IVCC. We have about 21,000 students, total students as our population, but we have about 1 in 3 students that come in as transfer students. So quite a few of our students are transfer students. They have that experience at other institutions, whether it is a community college or another four-year university. And what's great is 45% of our Illinois State graduating class has transferred in from other universities. So as Ezra had mentioned earlier, a lot of students starting at IVCC come out with higher GPAs than the native students starting at the university. That's how it is with our graduation. Our transfer students are coming in and graduating at almost faster rates than our native students. Because again, they're planning properly, they're getting those recommended and required courses done before they transfer, and then they're jumping right into their major-based courses. About 81% of our transfer students do come in from the community college, so we have tons of resources when it comes to that, and about 32% of our students do come in with an associate's degree. Although it's not required, it definitely helps to make for a smooth transition when that time comes.
Hello, my name is Tedra. I'm our NIU Transfer Admissions Counselor. Once again, thank you for having me. So we have about 12,277 diverse undergraduate students on our campus that are coming from all over the state, all over the country, all over the world. About 45% of our students are indeed transfer students. 55% of the total number of our graduating class are also transfers. So again, just to reiterate, our transfer students tend to be more mature. They have great experiences in the community college and they are ready. So they gain a lot of skill sets at that community college. I myself was also a transfer student. I also was first generation. And so for you transfer students, we do have many different resources here on campus, including transfer to transfer mentoring. You can also get faculty and staff mentoring if you prefer that. We also have a specific transfer orientation, and we have a specific transitionary course for transfer students called UNIV 201. I don't know why I always mess up on the class that I teach, but it is a transfer cohort class that allows you to build that community. We also focus a lot on getting ready and getting prepped for your very first career, because as you're transitioning to a four-year college with only 2 years left, we need to start building your personal social capital and getting you prepped for career and or for grad school. We have a 16:1 student to faculty ratio and an average class size of 24.
Awesome. So I think that's always a really helpful thing to just know, like, how many students am I expected to see that are similar to me? So with that, I think another big thing that might be on students' minds or might not realize that there's tons of resources, right? So as far as planning and whatever that looks like. So we'll have each of you cover what those all mean and maybe their different titles so that students that are interested in moving in that direction know what they're asking for.
Great. So at St. Ambrose, we have several different programs that, as Ezra said, can help you with the transition. One of the things that we have available is all of our transfer equivalencies and plans of study by major on our website. Certainly, your advisor at IVCC and myself are resources for you as well. But if you are looking for requirements for the nursing program at St. Ambrose, you can find that information on our website, and we'll also tell you the equivalent courses for some of those prerequisites at IVCC. We also have a dual admission program. So this program allows students to feel connected to St. Ambrose while they're a student at the community college. So it's not dual enrollment, it's just dual admission. So let's say a student at IVCC has a friend at St. Ambrose and they want to come up and visit them. They're able to get a St. Ambrose student ID. They can attend a sporting event, a fine arts performance, use our library, our career center. They have access to all the resources that our current students do as part of the dual admission program. It's a free program, and for students who participate in it, they receive an extra $1,000 in scholarship money. Like many of the counselors on this call, transfer admissions counselors are really experts within that area. So we are able to connect you with the right people to answer your questions regarding financial aid, to make sure that you are taking the right courses at the community college prior to transferring. So I think any of us on this call would say, please contact us, reach out to us. We're here to help. We're happy to help. We also have a career center. So they are the office on our campus that helps you begin to build your resume, to work on your interview skills, to get you connected with internships. We have a great program where we connect current students with alum within different areas. So if you want to get into finance, we can help you meet an alum within the area that is successful in the field of finance. Our student success centers, where students go to get additional assistance with coursework. We offer free tutoring for many of our courses. And then I already mentioned the Transfer Mentor program, but then we also have services specific to veteran students. So veterans oftentimes have benefits and things that they, additional paperwork that they need help with. And our veterans coordinator is there to help them with all of those steps along the way.
So Bradley University has transfer equivalency guides located on their website. We have them for every junior college in the state of Illinois. It has all the classes offered at your junior college and whether or not they're transferable to Bradley. So that's a great resource for you when you're planning your transfer. But again, just reach out to your counselor and we can help you navigate that if it seems a little foreign to you. Transfer Center at Bradley University. That is me. I work in the Transfer Center at Bradley University. We also have a career center, which is very helpful to all of our students. I see students in there all the time asking for assistance, whether it's tips on interviewing, on filling out their resume, finding an internship, just finding those connections within the community for a job. So always encourage students to utilize that resource. The Career Center is not going to hunt you down. You got to go to them and ask for help, but lots of students have benefited from that. It's a great opportunity, as well as the Academic Success Center. If you're struggling in any of your classes, we have free tutoring available for students in a lot of our courses. And then we have a course specific to transfer students. It's a great way to connect and network and meet other transfer students. It's only once a week. It's 1 credit hour. So again, just a great way to network and connect and get involved.
So for Illinois State, we have quite a few transfer specific resources, and it's going to be very similar to what a lot of the other schools have mentioned. But the first 3 bullets here kind of all link together. So like the other schools, we also do have credit guides specific for IVCC to ISU, laying out exactly how any of your IVCC credits are going to transfer into Illinois State. As Matthew mentioned, we also do note on there if they fall into an IAI or the Illinois Articulation Initiative category. So you know that not only it's going to transfer, but then it's also going to take care of some gen ed requirements as well. With that, we have our major admission guide. This lays out very clearly every single one of the majors that we offer here at Illinois State and exactly what you need to transfer directly into your program. So some majors will only require a GPA, some will require a GPA and specific courses. And so we're going to lay that out for you so you know exactly what you need to take, and you can plan that out accordingly with your community college advisor. On top of that, we also do have major specific course recommendations. So one of the biggest things that I think we can all agree on is we don't want you wasting time and money on classes that you don't need. So we're going to lay out for you, again, not only the classes that you need to get into your major, but additional courses that are going to be required for you to earn your degree. These are going to be outside of general education requirements and more specific to major requirements that you can still get done at IVCC. Not only is that going to save you money in the long run because you're taking them for a cheaper price at IVCC, but it's also going to keep you on track to graduate on time with us at ISU. The fourth bullet here is a really unique program between IVCC and ISU. Redbird Promise is a guaranteed admission program that you could sign up for as early on as your junior year of high school. So if you know that you plan to go to IVCC and you plan to get your associate's degree, whether in arts or science, and you plan to complete that with at least a 2.4 GPA, you can submit a Redbird Promise form with us, and that's going to guarantee you undeclared admission into Illinois State up to 4 years prior to you actually transferring. This not only allows you to get connected with us throughout that first semester, or even earlier on at IVCC, but then it allows us to provide you with those resources like that IVCC transfer credit guide, our major admission guide, and any specific courses that we want you to get done for your major. Along with this, we do offer quite a few student support services. I won't go into too many details on that because we have a whole section for that a little bit later. But probably the most important are our transfer specific visits. We know that as a transfer student, you're looking for different information than a first time in college student may be. So we offer transfer specific campus visits, both virtually and in person, that are going to focus on the transfer route into Illinois State. It then is followed either with a tour of campus if you're in person, or a current student panel to kind of help answer some of those questions from that current student perspective. And then we also do offer a variety of one-on-one appointments. So if you ever have questions, like everybody else has said, schedule an appointment with one of us and let us know, because we really want to make sure that this is a smooth transition for you.
Also, to kind of reiterate what everybody else has said, we really just want to make sure that your transition is as easy and as seamless as possible. I used to be an academic advisor, and so I would at a community college, so I would recommend always communicate with your academic advisor. Do not self-advise, do not withdraw from courses or add courses without having that conversation with your academic advisor. We have transfer pathways with IVCC, our transfer guides, which once again is going to outline within those majors all of the courses outside of the GECC, which is your general education core curriculum, that you need to take for your major. So we also just developed a new beautiful transfer credit website, which is an homage to transferology, but it's transferology for NIU. So you can essentially build your bundle and see exactly how your courses are coming over if you're just concerned about a one-off course, or if you want to bundle an entire major. It's a very easy thing on our website. It even has a tutorial video. For our transfer community, we do have post-traditional, which is really transfer. So a traditional student is that student straight out of high school that goes directly to a four-year university and lives in the residence hall. Anything outside of that is considered post-traditional students. But we do have post-traditional student services. We have a commuter lounge specifically for students that are planning on commuting. We have just basically, it's an organization that helps you to acclimate, meet other students, build community. They have cookouts, they have lunch and learns, anything with free food I know students are down with. We also have our plus programs, which is all about not just your education, but the plus, the extra stuff that you need to be successful outside of our college. So we're teaching you soft skills, on the job skills, leadership skills. And of course, we have our UNIV 201 program, which again is going to help you to acclimate to our college. It's online, it is a 1 credit hour class. But what I found is that we can tell you where the resources are, and you can try to figure it out when you have 1,000 other things you're trying to navigate getting to a college. Or we can introduce you to the people that you need to know on our campus to be successful. We also have a guaranteed admission program agreement with IVCC. And again, 2.0, 24 credit hours completed. Just sign that form and you're going to have early access to academic advising, as well as other resources on our campus so that you're already feeling plugged in and connected to the new community that you're joining. And our Career Center is super awesome. They are great. They will do professional headshots for you and help you build your, for free, and help you build your LinkedIn page. And you will have lifetime access to Huskies Get Hired. So our end goal is what your end goal is, which is to help you transition into your first professional career and or grad school.
Okay, up next, all of our reps are going to talk a little bit about transfer housing. This is a huge deal for a lot of you when you're moving from campus. You're probably used to living at home or planning on living at home. And then once you get to campus, on their campuses, what kind of housing is available to you? Can you live in apartments? Do you have to live in a dorm? Let's hear what they have to say.
Okay, at St. Ambrose University, we have several different options as far as residence halls go. Students coming in at junior status, so 60 credit hours or more, are eligible to live in one of our apartment style buildings, townhouses, or university owned houses. So the majority of the availability is in our campus apartments. So students either have their individual bedroom within the unit or share a bedroom with another person, also share common living space, kitchen, and bathrooms. So some really nice options when students are kind of comparing living on campus versus off campus. They tend to lean on campus because of the quality of those facilities. You're close to classrooms, the library, the rec center, the cafeteria, everything you need is just really close when you live on campus. We have housekeeping that comes in, utilities, cable, internet, those are included. And there's a network of staff, our residence life team, security, physical plant, available to assist you and make sure that you're comfortable at all times. A lot of times I get questions from transfer students who want to move on campus. How do I meet a roommate? How am I placed with another incoming student? And for the most part, roommate assignments are done randomly, and oftentimes those random assignments work out. But St. Ambrose has recently partnered with Zeme, which is an app that students can download to their phone, and it allows them to connect with other incoming students specifically interested in St. Ambrose. And on the Zeme app, there is a feature to connect with a roommate. And so we're finding that it's a great way for students to meet other students like them who have similar interests, and a lot of times that leads to rooming together.
So transfers coming in at a junior status at Bradley have the option to live on campus or off campus. They can live wherever they choose. Most students choose to live off campus. There's 2 apartment complexes that we work really closely with, and those are called St. James Apartments and Main Street Commons. Fully furnished, flat screen TVs, tanning beds, all the works for those 2, but there are also many other options within the Peoria community that are very close to campus, where you could still walk to campus, but it's considered off campus. So the housing department keeps a whole list of houses that are available to rent for Bradley students and other apartment complexes within the area. If you haven't been to Peoria, Bradley is right in the middle of town. So like I said, all of these housing options, you can literally walk to class. Some students don't even bring cars to campus because everything is so close. You can walk from one end of campus to the other in the time it takes you to listen to 2 songs on your iPod. But there are transfer students that choose to live on campus because we do have singles apartments complexes on campus. They fill up pretty fast. So if that's something that you're considering, I would apply and put your housing deposit in as soon as you figure that out. And then we also have a floor in College Hall that is only for transfer students. So it's another way to network and be with some of the students that are in the upper level classes with you so that you're not rooming with all freshmen. But there's something for everyone, no matter what you're looking for.
Yeah, so Illinois State does have a very specific housing requirement. We do require that students live on campus with us for the first 2 years following their high school graduation date. So it doesn't really matter if you're coming in as a transfer student or fresh out of high school. We're going to continue to look at your high school graduation date and determine whether or not you'll be living with us or living in an off-campus apartment or house. If you are coming in, if you're transferring in, say you only do a year at IVCC and then you want to start with us your sophomore year, at that point, you'd be required to live with us for then 1 additional year until you reach that 2-year point. And if you're required to live with us, you have a few different options. Our university undergraduate housing is kind of clustered in a few different, what we like to call neighborhoods. We have Hewitt and Manchester Hall, Tri-Towers, Watterson Towers, and Cardinal Court. So the first 3 are residence halls here on campus. That is where any of our first time in college, first year out of high school students are required to live. And then once a sophomore year hits, or if you transfer in after a year out of college, you also have access to Cardinal Court. That is more of an apartment style living that is still housed through the university. So you're not going out and figuring out how to get water and internet and all of that set up on your own. We're taking care of that for you. But you have the convenience of potentially your own room, your own bathroom, got a full kitchen, so you're not required to have a meal plan then on campus. And you've also got a guaranteed spot for your car if you'd like to bring it. Now, probably the most common option for students who are traditional transfers, so they're going for 2 years to IVCC to say earn that associate's degree and then transfer in, is to go into their own off-campus apartment or off-campus house. Personally, I was a transfer student. I transferred in after 2 years out of high school, and I went into my own off-campus apartment because it was a little bit more financially friendly. I was able to find something that worked with my budget. I could find something on the side of campus that most of my classes were going to be in, and I could also just look for things that I really wanted to have for, wherever it is that I wanted to live. And to help with that, we have an off-campus housing database. So just know you're not going to be alone if you go that off-campus route. We have a website that you'll have access to once you've been admitted to the university, where you can search through multiple different realtor listings in one big database. You can also put filters in there to actually set the number of bedrooms, bathrooms. You can even say whether or not you want to bring your pet, and you can put a price range on there as well. So you're really finding things that are within your budget. We also do have an off-campus housing services office, and their entire job is to really help provide you resources and kind of enhance your off-campus housing experience. So we do have folks in that office that are there to help review leases with you to make sure you know all those fine details before you sign anything and get yourself into a contract. And then we also have folks to help if you have any issues with housing, if you happen to become displaced with housing or things like that. There's a lot of things that could happen during the year that nobody expects to happen, but we have folks there to help, whether you're on campus or off campus, to make sure that your housing is really in place. But again, the biggest thing for us to keep in mind is that 2-year live on requirement. After that point, you're able to go into your own off-campus house or off-campus apartment and really kind of find the space that works best for you.
So at NIU, we do have 5 different residence halls and 1 apartment complex for family living. We do have living learning communities within our various different residence halls and various different amenities. So if you go online, this is one thing I really like to encourage students to do, is look at your budget, because every single housing is going to have a different price point. So as Morgan was saying, the difference between like an apartment or like living in housing, like paying, or maybe it was Paige, like paying all these other individual things that can all add up. Because if you're living in an apartment or a condo or whatever off campus, and you have to also pay for your own internet, your water bill, your electric bill, the bills add up. Whereas everything is inclusive if you're living in one of our residence halls. The living learning communities, they really help to reinforce what it is that you want to go into, to be with other like minds. We have our lifestyle options. I jokingly say like the fitness community, what do they do? Work out all day, like in their residence halls? I don't know, just run laps around. But if you want to be with other like minds, we have a community for that. We do have a transfer floor, and we have upperclassmen only housing, which is Gilbert. It is beautiful. It's kind of on the side center of campus. They have their own gym, Starbucks, all that kind of fun stuff. And our off-campus housing, we do have a fair for that every year. And we do a publication every year as well called the Northern Star Housing Guide. And we also have that online where you can kind of look up the various different housing options. So if you are bringing a pet, most places are going to charge you pet rent. So again, you have to look at your budget. So you have to pay a deposit for your pet and you pay rent for your pet, unless it's a goldfish or something. We also have free legal services for students. So if you are struggling or you want somebody to check over your lease or you're having issues with your landlord, we do have those free legal services for you as students. We also have a roommate finder. One great thing about NIU is that we do have a large free transit system for you students. It's the second largest in the state of Illinois. Because we're so close in proximity to the city, our bus can take you to the Auburn train station and then you can go into the city of Chicago. And we do have a Greyhound bus, which you have to pay for. That one isn't free, but it goes from NIU directly into the city again. So again, you don't have to bring a car to campus. You will totally be successful and be fine. That transit takes you all over campus as well as all over the town of DeKalb and all over Sycamore. A little bit about that too is that DeKalb is a small community. We are surrounded by cornfields. So our campus is like that biggest part of our community, but you do have access again to one of the largest cities in the world via our transit system. I would say for students, when you're looking for your housing, you want to do that early just because options start to kind of slip away the further you get. Specifically if you're going to rent. So I would say if you're looking for renting options, start looking almost like December, like December, January before the fall that you're going to come in. Do not wait because people are going to renew their leases and you're going to have less and less ideal options.
Okay, now that we've talked a little bit about housing and what exactly it looks like on each of the campuses, now comes another big component, student services and involvement. Just what kind of opportunities are there on campus to become involved, especially starting in late? It's never too late, even as a transfer, to get involved on different activities on campus. So each rep will talk about a little bit of the different services that are offered for transfer students and how you can become involved on their campus.
Thanks, Lauren, and you're exactly right. It is never too late to get involved on campus, especially if you're a transfer student. So I've kind of already mentioned our career services. We have counseling services available on campus as well, but we have over 60 clubs and organizations on campus. And so that is really a wide variety from honors-based programs to Dance Marathon, which raises money for the pediatric unit at the University of Iowa Children's Hospitals. That's probably our most well represented club on campus. We have service opportunities for students. We can get you connected with local churches and faith organizations. And then we are an NAIA institution, and so we offer 22 athletic sports programs, our newest being men's wrestling and a color and winter guard program, as well as marching band. So, and I always tell students, if there's something that you have an interest in that we don't have a club or organization for, you can work with our student engagement director and form that club, because most likely if you have an interest in it, there's another one of your peers that does as well.
So Bradley University offers a transfer student advisory council that you can be a part of, or you can simply partake in their activities. They create fun activities specifically for transfer students around campus. My favorite one to use an example is our t-shirt swap. So the first semester you come, I think it's the first couple weeks of school, if you bring a t-shirt of your old school, we'll swap it out for some Bradley swag, give you a free Bradley t-shirt. And then in addition to that, we have over 250 student-led organizations. So if you don't find what you're looking for, you can start your own student-led organization. We have anything you could ever think of, from rock climbing to rugby to a group called Barbecue Kittens, which is an a cappella group, if you're into that. So I'm always amazed with how many organizations that students are involved in here. It's not something that you have to be, you don't have to be involved in anything, but I think a lot of students find benefit in being active. We have our Mark and Rec Center, which has a swimming pool, a rock climbing wall, dance studios, group-led workouts that you can have for free with your Markin membership. And then we also offer intramural sports. Late night BU is a fun activity for Bradley students that we offer late at night, usually on Thursdays and Fridays. And they have comedians come in, food trucks from local restaurants, inflatables, fun things like that. And then we also have an activities council, which again plans more events. It seems like there's always something going on Bradley's campus right in the middle of the quad. I think most recently, before COVID happened, I think the most recent guests they had were concerts from Macklemore and the band Perry. So always something going on, always groups that we would encourage you to be a part of.
Yeah, and for Illinois State, as everybody else has mentioned, getting involved is probably one of the best ways to really feel at home at your university, find your fit, find your group of friends. I know personally that was how I started finally feeling at home at ISU, was when I really started getting involved. Before we talk about that though, I want to talk about some of the student services offices that we offer, because we want to make sure that you are taken care of as a student here. One of the first ways that you can do that is by utilizing our student counseling service. This past year has been hard for a lot of folks, let alone a student who is trying to figure out their senior year, where they're going to go, what classes they're taking, and doing it all online. So if you do decide to choose to transfer to Illinois State, you have free access to our student counseling services that you can utilize, and we really encourage our students to use that while they're here. Whether you need individual counseling or you want group counseling, we offer quite a few different options for you to figure out what the best fit is. Another great resource, like everybody else has mentioned, we also do have a career services office. This is something I took advantage of a ton as a student at Illinois State, and I like to think that it paid off. It's one that I think every student should take advantage of, but especially transfer students from the first day they step onto campus. Many times as a transfer student, you only have a couple years left with us before you're going out into that professional workforce or going out into graduate school. So working on building your resume, getting some business cards printed, doing mock interviews, gaining internship experience, whatever that may be, our career services office is going to help you with that. And the earlier you can start with them, the better. Another great offer that they have is we have a website called Hire a Redbird. And the entire purpose of that is for employers to look specifically for Illinois State graduates to hire. Many, companies and many, especially schools that are hiring teachers, with us being a big education school, sometimes they're looking specifically for Illinois State graduates. So you have access to that website. And then you also have access to career services as an alum. So you're able to continue utilizing them, whether you want to change careers, you just want to move up in a position, or you just want to revamp your resume a little bit. You can continue to utilize their services. Outside of that, we also do have student access and accommodation services. So it's also very common, and I feel like it's becoming less of a stigma for students to make known that they might need a little bit extra help in a class, whether it is additional time on a test, maybe you need someone to help take notes for you in a class, or whatever that may be. We do have an office dedicated to you on campus to help make that easier for you. So we'll work with you individually to set up accommodations that you may need. You don't have to use those if you get them set up. The nice thing about them is they're there for you if you need them. You don't have to use them. So those are just a few of the support services. There are definitely tons more, but those are a couple that I like to touch on. When it comes to student involvement, we have over 450 organizations for you to become a part of, and they range from academic-based organizations to religious-based organizations. There are general fun clubs like our ukulele club and our Super Mario Smash Brothers club. And we even have a circus here on campus. We have one of the oldest collegiate circuses in the United States. So if you've ever wanted to maybe run from home and join the circus, then you can actually do that at Illinois State. One organization that I always like to highlight, it's kind of a shameless plug, is called Transfer Redbirds. It is an organization on campus that is made up entirely of current transfer students here at ISU, and their whole purpose is really to help new transfer students throughout that transition. I am the advisor for the organization, so if you join, you do have to see me quite a bit, but we're really here to just make sure that you're utilizing all of those resources that are available to you and you're getting those questions answered from another transfer student's perspective. Some other big things that students always like to hear about, we do have esports. We were the first public institution to have a varsity esports team here at Illinois State, and that is up and rolling since last fall. There are also just club esports, so if you're not maybe really into it, but you still want to continue on with it, we've got that opportunity. And then fraternity and sorority life is something that you have access to here at ISU as well. Quite a few different options, whether you're looking for social or service opportunities.
Hi, geez, I put a list up there. So similar to everybody else, the free counseling and consultation services. As I was just talking to a group earlier this week, this is something that I feel like students should start utilizing early on, because all of the transitions that you're making into a new environment, being locked down with COVID, the social unrest, change oftentimes leads to some feelings of anxiety and, depression, stressors, and our counseling services are free for you students. I have them come into my class and talk to the entire class, and they are just amazed at how well, that's their job, like calming they are, but like all of the great different things that they will do for you for free. We also have an excellent disability resource center. We have first generation resources. That is kind of a big deal because we still have a significant number of first generation college students, college going students. So if you are one of those students, please, use those services. They are free for you on campus. Tutoring and writing resources, again, I think the culture is so much different between high school and college. Whereas in high school, I know when my girls were in high school, the only time students were using tutoring was when they were in grade recovery. So if they were already not being successful, that was the only time students used tutoring. It's a different mindset when you step onto a college campus. So at your community college, make sure you are using their tutoring resources, because writing and citing is very important in college. Math gets tougher. So those are free services for you. We also have military and veteran services for our military students, career services, again, for life. We do host the largest internship fair in the Midwest. So we want to make sure you as, incoming juniors, that you are prepped for that. I know I use the Career Center. I was a federal work study at my community college. I worked for the vice president. So I felt like my resume was pretty fancy. I was super excited. I was like, oh, I got this. And then I did not. So they let me know. I had all these fancy fonts. I didn't have the tents in order. So just make sure you're using them. They are fantastic. They will do those mock interviews with you, help you with your resume. Even if you're not ready to necessarily get an internship right away, I suggest still attending that internship fair so that you have a frame of reference of what that looks like, so you're not overwhelmed the first time you actually attend. Student involvement, we have 300 plus student organizations. Again, if we have something that you were really into, like, snowball club or something, all you need is 4 like minds and 1 advisor, and we can get that started for you. But some of the interesting ones that I think outside of like Greek life, academic, social service is we have things like archery and like just, outdoor adventures. We see students over on our lagoon doing paddleboard yoga. So we definitely want you to do things that you're familiar with, but college is a time for you to take some calculated risks and to try some new things and to build your circle. We are a D1 institution for athletics, so our football games are pretty fun. There is a lot of tradition, and I honestly was a non-traditional student that commuted, and I wish I had known a lot of this, because of being first generation, I had no idea. I was like, I'm just going to class, hitting the road, going to class, hitting the road. But I really wish I would have done something like archery. I think that's super cool. But the football games, they have so much fun tradition. and Huskies, the jingling the keys, all that kind of fun stuff. We also have opportunities for undergraduate research. So we strongly encourage you to do that. And that is not just for like bio majors, that is for everybody across the board. We have honors. You need a 3.3 cumulative GPA as a transfer student in order to get into honors. We also have a lot of fun stuff. So when you first come to NIU, we have an entire week of welcome, lots of free fun, free food, free stuff, fun. All of these organizations are trying to get you to join. We have a parent weekend so that your parents can enjoy. We also have a presidential picnic. So lots of fun things to do on campus.
Okay, thanks everyone. So as you can see, there's lots of different ways on each of the campuses to get involved, to feel like you're part of campus, even if you've transferred in after 2 years. Now, here's another super important part, scholarships. How are you going to pay once you transfer? What opportunities are there for scholarships when you transfer? I'll turn it over to the reps now to hear more about how they can help you pay for school.
Great, thank you, Lauren. I think Sylvia from ISAC did an excellent job of explaining the resources available at the state level and how you can utilize federal aid to help you finance your education. So at St. Ambrose, we award academic scholarships to all transfer students who are admitted and enroll full-time. So these are not scholarships that you have to apply for separately. We do not limit the number of scholarships that we award. All students receive them when they come in. As a private institution, we do not have in-state or out-of-state tuition. Tuition is the same for all students. So a lot of times students think that private education is not affordable. That's not necessarily the case. You should certainly, if you're interested in small private institutions, you should definitely go through the process because oftentimes students realize that we are an affordable option for you. So we award, you can see our scholarships there. We award $16,000 for all PTK or Phi Theta Kappa members. So Phi Theta Kappa is the honor society at the community college level. So if you have a 3.5 or higher at IVCC, you'll most likely be invited to join Phi Theta Kappa. And I would encourage you to do so because there are a lot of colleges and universities out there that recognize students who are members of Phi Theta Kappa. And then our scholarships go down from $16,000 to $11,500 per year. We also award athletic, fine arts, alumni, diversity scholarships, and our dual admission scholarship that I mentioned earlier. So filling out the FAFSA is a very important step to that because in addition to these merit-based scholarships, the university could kick in some need-based scholarships as well. So it's our job to make your education at St. Ambrose as affordable as possible. And so we do our best to help you meet your level of need. As your transfer admissions counselor, it's my job to go through a cost of attendance worksheet. So we take the cost of attendance and or room and board. We deduct your scholarships, grants, federal aid that you're receiving, loans, and we give you an idea of what your costs will be for the year. So we do that as soon as we have your FAFSA and have your award letter put together. So again, we try and be very transparent with what your costs are going to be. And then we try and help you realize or recognize how you're going to pay for any remaining balance, whether that be a payment plan, additional loans, things like that. So again, utilize your transfer admissions counselor to help you with that financial aid process. We know it can be overwhelming, but again, another area that we're here to help with.
When you fill out your Bradley application, you're automatically considered for our academic scholarships. There's no extra steps. You don't have to apply for any of the scholarships. You're automatically evaluated for scholarship while we evaluate your application. The highest scholarship that we offer is a $14,500 scholarship for transfers above a 3.0 GPA. And then if you have above a 2.75 GPA, we'll still give you $12,500. That money is yours every year that you attend Bradley, as long as you're a full-time student and maintain your GPA. And then Phi Theta Kappa members get an additional $1,000 on top of that every year. So we just need a picture of your PTK certificate and we can add that onto your financial aid award. We offer legacy scholarships of $1,500 if you are a child or you have a grandparent or you're a sibling of someone that has graduated Bradley. We'll even give you the legacy scholarship if you have a sibling currently enrolled at Bradley. And then Caterpillar was headquartered here in Peoria, and we offer scholarships for dependents of Caterpillar employees. So if you're on Caterpillar insurance, let us know and we will give you an additional $1,500 on top of that. So in addition to these scholarships, as has already been mentioned, you'll want to make sure that you fill out your FAFSA so we can get your complete award finalized and walk through cost and all of your options with you.
For Illinois State, we do also offer automatic transfer student scholarships. The biggest criteria for this is that you're applying during our preferred filing period for admission, which we'll have some more slides on later on about that, and that you plan to transfer in a minimum of 24 credit hours and a 3.5 GPA. If you're meeting that criteria, you're going to be guaranteed a scholarship for that upcoming year, and then that scholarship is renewable for one additional year with us. Those do max out at about $1,500 for those transfer student scholarships, and the amount would vary depending on where your GPA is at between the 3.5 and the 4.0. Similar to the other schools, we do have a Phi Theta Kappa scholarship. Our PTK scholarship is competitive, so as you apply into the institution, you'll answer a question indicating whether or not you're a member of PTK. If so, you'll then be invited to apply for a scholarship a little bit later on in the application process, and that could be tacked on top of the transfer student scholarship you've already awarded. Outside of our office, there are tons of other scholarships that you can look for. There are university-wide scholarships, major-based scholarships, and then obviously scholarships through like your hometown, your local community, and things like that. So plenty of ways to help kind of bring those overall costs down. But the biggest thing I like to say about Illinois State is that we do come in to, in the overall look of cost, we are in the lower half of cost for public universities. So although our scholarships might not be a lot, our cost of attendance is also not as high.
So NIU scholarships, they're automatic for merit awards as long as you are hitting the deadline. So for spring, it's October 1st. For fall, it's March 1st. However, we award scholarships very similar to the MAP grant in that we award them until they are gone. And we usually don't know when they're gone until like the day before. So we just recommend getting your application in early so that you could focus on your money. So if I were to do an ideal timeline for a fall student, I would say apply August 15th, get your official transcripts in, and then make sure that you're filing for your FAFSA on October 1st. After that, you can go heavy after these scholarships. We offer for over $5 million in scholarships. Oftentimes that money is just untapped because students don't take the time to apply for them. So as far as the merit base, I always tell students, just make sure when you're leaving your community college to try to have at least a 3.0 cumulative GPA, because that's the starting threshold at most colleges for merit-based scholarships. For us, it's $1,000 for 2 years. If you get up to the 3.25, you're looking at $1,500 for 2 years, renewable. If you're hitting the criteria, and 3.5 and above, it's $2,000 per year for 2 years. We also offer Husky Legacy Award, which is $1,000 automatic award if one of your parents graduated from NIU. We do have Aim High transfer scholarships, which is more need-based. And we have all those other scholarships through My Scholarships. And those deadlines typically hit on January 31st for the next year, which is why I strongly encourage students to get things done quickly so that they can really access those scholarships and their scholarship potential. One I didn't put on here that I don't know why and how I forgot is the William and Diane Taylor Scholarship, which is a full tuition and fee scholarship for accountancy majors. So that is only offered to IVCC students. So that is another great scholarship opportunity. I also recommend students using various different university and colleges that we usually have calculators on our websites that will break down that cost for you so that you have a more, just a better view of what your gap in your payment between all of your scholarship money, all of your aid money, and what is left over for you to pay. So once again, work with your ISAC representatives and use those tools so that you know, maybe I need to get a full-time job in the summer or whatever it is that you need to do to fulfill the rest of your obligations for tuition.
Okay, so now we know a little bit more about just how the different colleges can help you pay to go to school once you transfer through some of their scholarships. Next step is the actual application process. So you know that you're going to transfer, just how do you go about doing that? What exactly do you need for each school to submit an application? I'll turn it over to Becky.
Thank you. So our application is available on our website. It's free of charge. We do not have an application deadline. We have rolling admissions, so we will admit students up until the start of the fall and the spring semesters. However, I would encourage you to at least begin the transfer process 1 to 2 semesters ahead of time. In order to review your application for admission, we're looking for a GPA, cumulative college GPA of 2.0 or higher, and we're looking to see if you've completed 12 transferable credits. So transferable credits would be courses at the 100 level or higher. We do require official transcripts from all colleges and universities that you've attended. So if you have credit from somewhere else besides IVCC, we'll need to see those transcripts also. If you took 3 years or more of the same foreign language in high school, then we do ask that you send your high school transcript, because that will make you exempt from any additional foreign language requirements at St. Ambrose. So again, just completing the application, sending official transcripts from all colleges and universities you've attended. That's it for the application process.
Bradley's application is free and also available on our website. We have a freshman app and a transfer app, so make sure you fill out the transfer app. We will also need official college transcripts from any college that you attended. If you have over 24 college credit hours, we don't need your high school transcripts, but if you have less than 24 college credits, which is usually 2 full-time semesters, we're going to need an official copy of your high school transcripts too. The applications open July 1st of every year, and your FAFSA that you'll also need to fill out opens October 1st. We don't have a hard deadline for transfer students, so as long as you can get everything into us and registered for classes before class starts, you're good to go. I wouldn't recommend that. For example, we started registering transfer students for classes in April here for next fall. So really the beginning of spring, if you're planning on fall, is a good time to apply a semester or 2 ahead of time, like was said before.
When it comes to Illinois State University's application process, our timelines are a little bit different depending on the semester you're looking to apply for. If you're thinking the summer or the fall, we recommend to apply between August 1st and January 15th. That's going to, again, guarantee you one of those scholarships if you're meeting criteria. It's going to set you up for an early decision. So that way, similar to Bradley, you can get into one of those early orientation dates to register for classes early. And then it also gets you best consideration for your major. So it's very common for majors to reach capacity and fill up the later you wait to apply, especially some of our more popular programs like nursing and construction management. So the earlier you're applying for your major, the better, not only again for major, but also scholarship and orientation purposes. If you're thinking the spring semester, those applications we recommend to submit between April 1st and August 1st, so a little bit different of a deadline. When you do apply, it will be done online at illinoisstate.edu/apply. Similar to Bradley and other schools, we have a freshman versus a transfer application. So you'll enter into our student application portal and then answer a few questions, which will help us identify which application you'll start in. And then it'll kind of walk you right through. The application itself should maybe only take 30 to 45 minutes, if that. And once you've applied, we'll just need official transcripts from any institutions you've attended for us to go ahead and get you reviewed. There is an optional academic personal statement you can attach to your application, and that just allows you to give us a little bit more information about your academic career that we aren't going to understand just by looking at your transcripts. So if you have test anxiety or an IEP, or if you just had a really rough semester, just giving us a little bit more information about that you feel comfortable with, so that way we can understand your situation a little bit better. Another thing to consider when you're applying is, again, those major admission requirements. So again, that major admission guide, as well as our website, is going to lay out exactly what is needed to get into your program, whether it's a GPA or a course or both. And then it also does lay out the average admitted GPA. So some programs, may only require a 2.5 to be reviewed for the major, say like nursing, but on average, those students that are being admitted have between about a 3.7 and a 4.0. So that tells you what you need to do and how you need to perform at IVCC to better help your admission into ISU at a little later date. We do have a $50 application fee. Now, if you're a part of the TRIO program at IVCC, or if you file that FAFSA application and you have less than a $1,000 EFC, we can use that to go ahead and waive that $50 application fee. Just reach out to us and we can help you with that.
So our application process is pretty streamlined. It is free. We do have rolling admissions as well. So again, that fall application opens up August 15th and you have until August 1st. However, again, I cannot stress enough getting everything done early, because January 31st is your deadline for all the other scholarships. You can apply online. It's pretty, again, streamlined, admissions.niu.edu. Go into the transfer application. There are no personal statements, no test scores, no letters of recommendation required. It's really just background information on what courses you took in college and when you started and graduated high school. We need you to submit your official transcripts at the time of your application. And again, when you've completed any courses that you have in progress. So what happens oftentimes is students think that they have to wait until all of their classes are done. And by doing that, we're not able to process their application. It just sits there waiting to be attached to that transcript so we can see that you're meeting the requirements. So again, make sure you are submitting an official transcript both at the time of the application and again, when your final courses are completed. Once you submit those official transcripts from all colleges attended, it will take about 2 weeks for us to give you an official admissions decision. And then 2 weeks after that, you'll have access to your official transfer credit report.
Okay, so taking you all on a journey this afternoon, just with the transfer process from IVC to help with ISAC, all the information, basic information you need to know from all of our college reps to make a decision that's best for you and your family of how you want to proceed. Or if you had just had no idea of what it's like to transfer, just a base knowledge of what that world is like moving forward as you look to attending IVCC or looking to transfer after next year from IVCC. Now we'll open up this time to any questions. You can write them in the chat box. If you do have any questions, feel free to do that. Otherwise, right now you can kind of see on our slide, there is some information and we'll have this posted as a recording through IVCC as well. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of the reps any that we're here today, or feel free right now to have any questions in the chat box.
And I just want to say thank you to all of our representatives, ISAC, and our university partners. When students were registering for this event, it was nice in the comments to see that you're already going to address the topic that I'm interested in learning more. So this is huge. And of course, Lauren, thank you so much from the high school perspective and how important it is to educate our students about the transfer process. And it's never too early, right? So it's really nice to have this conversation with you and hear all of the great things that our universities have to offer, especially during this crazy time where they can't maybe make it to campus, but to just know these specifics is huge. So we appreciate your time and energy. And if there's no questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And this will be recorded, uploaded to our YouTube channel, IVCC Eagles. And it looks like some people are just mentioning, reaching out to your counselor, wherever you choose to go. So if anyone else has anything else that you guys want to mention before we end this. Well, this has been wonderful. Thank you again, Lauren. And like I mentioned, this will be uploaded to IVCC Eagles YouTube channel, and we'll also circulate this on social media. So we appreciate your time and energy. And again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Yay, thank you. Stop the thing.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Right,